There is something surprising about this gospel reading today. We hear of many images of how difficult it is to be a follower of Jesus, a disciple of Jesus, leaving father and mother, sister and brother behind, but also taking up a cross, an instrument of suffering. And yet, at the end of this long list of difficult burdens that are involved to describe what it means to take up our discipleship, we hear this phrase, "Whoever gives only a cup of cold water to one of the disciples will be rewarded." It seems like such an easy thing to give a cup of cold water to someone. And it is Jesus' way of making sure that we understand that we don't overplay the burdens of being a disciple to the point that they become so onerous and an obstacle that we're afraid to take up our discipleship because it seems too hard. Father of a family always tried to raise his sons by telling them when they made mistakes, "It's easy if you know how." And then, even after they grumbled a bit and accomplished whatever it is the Father wanted them to do, he would come back to them and say, "Now that wasn't so hard, was it?" It's something I think we need to keep in mind. Things are much easier than we thought if we know how. Well, one day, one of the sons was able to turn this on his father. He found out that his father hadn't spoken to his own brother in about 3 weeks. They were feuding over something. And the boy was upset because his uncle was his godfather. And so he said to his dad, "Why don't you go bury the hatchet and make up?" And the father said, "You know, it's not as easy as you think." And the boy could not pass up the chance. He said, "It's easy if you know how." So the father thought about it and went over to his brothers and made up. And when he came back, again his son couldn't pass up the chance. And he said to his dad, "Now that wasn't so hard, was it?" We do many times find ourselves unable to do the simplest things of making up, of helping others, of going out of our way so that the lives of people can be improved, or that maybe peace can be brought in a family. It's easy if we know how. And when we do it, the Lord says to us, "That wasn't so hard, was it?" One of the things that I have always admired about Pope Francis is he always has his spirit of equanimity and calm about him, no matter what problem is in the world that he's facing. In fact, as you know, he went into surgery some weeks ago. And that evening, before he went into surgery, that afternoon, he had a number of audiences, and even the major audience on a Wednesday with crowds in St. Peter's Square. He had a sense of the fact that even though for others it may have been difficult because of going into surgery and thinking about it, he knew that God was with him in that moment to be able to do what was right. And so today, whatever the burden is that we have in life, the thing in our life that we find so onerous and hard to overcome, making up with someone, visiting a family member we haven't, taking time out for prayer, going to Mass if we're able, rather than making a big production out of it, maybe we should remember that it's easy if we know how. And then maybe we'll hear the voice of God say to us, "That wasn't so hard, was it?"